As I record this video, 101 Films have just released Open Range on Blu-ray disc. I think this is one of the greatest westerns ever made, and therefore I think it warrants a full review. This Blu-ray was only released by 101 Films in September 2021. I've watched it towards the end of October 2021. Would have watched it sooner, but my local HMV was constantly sold out, which hopefully is a good sign that this one's selling as well as it deserves to. Now, I'd only seen it previously on DVD. I hadn't seen it at the cinema, and this Blu-ray was like a revelation in that regard. It was like watching it for the first time. It really is like a cinema print to look at. However, it's not as good as most 4K discs because, of course, being just an ordinary Blu-ray does not come with HDR, and as we all know, that's what really makes a difference. Now, it's a largely colourless film in any case, and I think that was deliberate. Kevin Costner, the director, he's got to be one of the greatest Western directors ever, and he likes to go for an authentic looking Western every time he makes one. Dances with Wolves, Wyatt Earp, and there's very little colour in this. The town it's based around is colourless, their costumes are colourless, but everything and everyone is believable, and that's what draws you in. It's also got an evocative score, the greatest acting you could probably ever wish for, and a great climax. Now, what it's about is a group of 4 cattlemen who actually graze their cattle on open range. One of them has to go into the local town to get some supplies when they've just passed through it, and he doesn't come back, and so 2 of the chaps, Kevin Costner and Robert Duvall, who's absolutely brilliant, they go looking for him to check he's okay, and indeed he's being beaten up by the local sheriff. So there's a bit of corruption going on in this town, and the gang leader, who's actually the town leader, Michael Gambon, with an Irish accent, which I'm not entirely convinced of. But anyway, that's what the film is. I think it plays out extremely well. It runs for 2 hours and 18 minutes. The sound on this is Dolby Stereo, ProLogic for the home market, which I did want to speak to 101 Films about. I did email a couple of them. They haven't got back to me yet. So if I get a reply, I'll do an update in a future video. But there's only Dolby Stereo on this, and it was at the cinemas in Sony Dynamic Digital Sound, SDDS, Digital Theatre System, DTS, and Dolby Digital 5.1. So I don't know if the DVD had a 5.1 track on it or anything else, but it's only got the 2-channel stereo, which matrixes out to Dolby Stereo, the 4-track stereo, if you've got a surround sound amplifier. But I have to admit, I didn't really check the sound before playing it. There is a very simple menu on this, and there's no options, there's absolutely no extras at all, but you've just got play and subtitles. And so I hit play, and I thought the sound was so suitable for the film. I really would have told you it was some later soundtrack than Dolby Stereo because it sounded so good in here. And in fact, I checked it on our second system in our living room, on our cheaper system in there, which is not really a high-end system. I suppose it's a mid-range system. And it even sounded fantastic on there. So I would have told you this was Dolby Digital or DTS, but it's only Dolby Stereo. So don't be put off by that. The image quality on this, I think, the definition is so good that you could pass this off as a 4K except for that HDR. So you can imagine that I'm going to recommend this one. And I do think it's a bit of a masterpiece, and in my opinion, one of the best westerns ever made. Open Range had an estimated budget of $22 million, and it took a worldwide gross of $68 million. It has a screen ratio of around 2.4 to 1, but was shot on Super 35, so although the picture quality is excellent, there are a couple of places where the definition may not look as good as it could, and notably in darker sequences. If it was shot in full-frame anamorphic 35mm, it might have looked even better than it does, but still exceptionally good. I haven't read the Lauren Payne book, so I'm not sure how accurately this film represents the novel, but you do get so behind the protagonists in this film that you even forgive a bit of artistic license when Kevin Costner is clearly firing more than 6 shots from his 6-shooter. Annette Bening plays the love interest, and I think it's interesting that it looks like there's absolutely no makeup on her whatsoever. There probably is, but it doesn't look like there's any, and she still looks beautiful. So a bit of a spoiler alert here, so if you want to mute the sound for a couple of seconds, there's a burst of colour towards the end when she's in the garden surrounded by flowers, so that you know for sure a happy ending is coming, and that really sort of rounds the whole film off really nicely. So overall from me, a 10 out of 10, almost perfect picture that I dare anyone not to enjoy. So, until the next video, bye bye for now.